beautiful autumn day from Deptford, New Jersey, on the grounds of Deptford High School. Comcast Channel 5 presents high school football. Today, the Deptford Spartans host the Clearview Pioneers. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Shawn Leary. Low 70s. Couldn't ask for a better day to play football. Two excellent teams, a Clearview team that we had an opportunity to see last week here on Channel 5, and also a Deptford team who is the presiding favorite here in this Tri-County division. Again, this is a game that's critical for both teams, probably a little more so for Clearview, but a game that promises to be hard-hitting right from the get-go.
Well, you're right, Rob. And you look at Clearview and what happened to them last week. I mean, they were really manhandled by Delsey. And yet, you don't know if Delsey is really that much stronger. People are asking, is Delsey that strong, or is Clearview maybe just underrated or a little bit overrated at this time? You know what? When you come into a game like that and you get manhandled, you just cannot wait to get back onto the field. And that desire and burn, at least for football players, really has to have this team excited to come and face a team like Deptford, so you can really see where you are. And for Clearview, that's going to happen today. They're going to see, are they a team that should contend, or are they a team maybe that people overestimated? I think the desire that's going to come out from this team, you're going to see it on the field today. You know, Coach Pidcock talked to them all week. It must have been a horrible week of practice for them guys, but the fruits of their labor during this course of this week, you expect to see it here on the field today.
Well, of course, Deptford comes into this game 2-0, so a key matchup there. We're talking Clearview here. You mentioned hard-hitting. They're going to need a spark plug, and they have a lot of players who've been key members of this team for 3 years. They're led possibly spiritually, if you will, by Clint Lawyer.
Yeah, Clint Lawyer, he's like that spark plug guy. You know, he's not huge. He's not the fastest guy out on there, but he has a huge heart and plays extremely hard. We had a chance to see him last week. He comes out with a great catch with focus, and those are the big plays that they need from Clint Lawyer, a guy who's going to make plays for your team. On defense, he plays well. He's a cover corner. He's going to try and shut down your passing game, but also when he gets the ball in his hands, he's very deceptive. He has good speed and great field vision, and he has that focus. Again, he always seems to be around the ball in right spots, and he makes plays for this team.
Well, Deptford has so many different weapons. They're also beset by a number of injuries. Their top two tailbacks are out. Now, the running game is going to go to Ryan Leafy, a guy who typically spent his time on defense.
Well, this is a guy who plays both ways, a very good conditioned player. And what do you think? One of the things you like about Leafy is a guy you can really trust. Hand the ball off to him and expect him to get maybe 20 carries today. This is a team that likes to run the football, especially watching Clearview last week and seeing how they handled the run against Delsey. Not a good effort from the Pioneers. You expect that Deptford is going to come out and try to run the football. Sheldon Johnson, obviously, their quarterback, is going to have a good game. But you look at Leafy. In the backfield, he's going to have to get a number of touches, and with those injuries, he's going to have to carry the load for him. So you just wonder, make sure that he conditioned all week. Make sure he had his fluids all week. You don't want him dehydrating. Looks like it's going to be a warm day, and getting a lot of carries in that strenuous workout that he's going to have today, he really needed to get all those fluids in. That's going to be something we're going to have to check out as the game goes on.
Well, this Deptford team, of course, next week will go on to play a Delsey team that is outstanding, really on a roll. Another Channel 5 game for you. Ask Coach Oreo. Any fears about your kids looking ahead to next week? We're worried about today. We'll have it for you right after this. Welcome back to Deptford High School. About to get underway. It's Clearview who will start things and receive. And taking it is the Pioneers. That is DJ Nelson. He is cut down immediately at the 20-yard line. Not very good field position to start here for the Pioneers. You see Clearview in the bright yellow. First and 10. And Jared Eisenhart will check in. He's your quarterback. Had an opportunity, of course, to see this Pioneers team last week against a very good Delsey Crusaders squad. One of the things to keep an eye on today is the line play. Line play last week was where Clearview really suffered Delsey with 4- and 5-yard pushes almost every single play off. And Inside handoff, not much there. That's for Clint Lawyer, who we talked about before. A little technical difficulty. Shawn Leary will join us shortly. There's Clint Lawyer, along with Hagenberg, Chappelle, Nelson, and Clendenling. Mazzillo, Hart, Miller, Faust, and Curry, your offensive linemen. I formation here for the Pioneers. And Eisenhart rolls out wide open, has Nelson. Nelson with a juke, and he has more than enough for the first down. So, Clearview able to get a first down, and that's something they were unable to do against Delsea last week. Deptford, of course, coming into this game 2-0 with wins over Kingsway and Cumberland. There's your Deptford defense. You see Williams, Soper, Wood, and Blackshear. Soper, a D1 prospect. Leafy, House, Oreo. And then the rest of your defensive set. And a big carry up the middle. On his way to the 30. And brought down at the 25-yard line. Well, a big carry for the Pioneers. And things have changed dramatically in 1 week for Dan Pidcock's Clearview Pioneers. 1st and 10, just inside the 25-yard line for Clearview. And a big hit laid out. Just pounded in the backfield is Clint Lawyer. And that's a loss of 4, so Deptford's defense, we talked before about looking ahead to next week against Delsea. It's Clearview that's obviously primed and ready to go here. And the alarm clock went up and off for this Deptford defense, and it's Clint Lawyer who paid the price. 2nd down, 14 to go. Again, the handoff, and just not much there. Maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage. There you see head coach Dan Pidcock. He's been around quite some time. His career mark, 134 and 150. Eisenhart slings it sidearm, and no penalty there, but again, tremendous rush there by the Spartans. Kind of interesting here. They're going to go for it 4th down and 16. You'd think maybe they would pooch punt it and back Deptford up, but instead they're going to roll the dice. And Eisenhart has a man in motion. Play action pass with time, getting flushed out now. He's on his feet and he's smacked down. Big hit laid out by Deptford's Ed House, and he rocked the house with a hit on Eisenhart. Ball turned over on downs.
Everything broke down, and Deptford is going to take over. But at least for Clearview, I think you have to be encouraged by the way the team has come out and responded after last week's letdown against Delsea. They were really manhandled last week. For them to come out with this type of fire, I think Coach Pidcock's got to be pretty pleased.
Sheldon Johnson, your quarterback for the Spartans, and he will hand off. A big gain already. Ryan Leafy, who we talked about at the top, a big gainer, and there you see him. 5'9", 185. Brandon Williams, your other fullback. Bittner, Kersey, and Brown, your skill players. Soper, Wood, Pearson, House, and Small. Soper, again, attracting some Division I interest.
Just with that great size, 6'3", 290. That is just great size. And there you see Sheldon Johnson. You talk about great size, 6'1", 180, and he can really throw the rock. I mean, this guy's got a great arm.
Right up the gut and still on his feet, pushing forward, and that's enough for a first down. Sheldon Johnson just really runs this option so well. In fact, last year, there were 2 plays that were touchdowns that he ran touchdowns for that were called back because he faked the referees out. They tackled somebody else and blew the whistle down.
He has a great play fake, and that's something, even college recruits are going to be looking at and seeing what type of skills he has. And those are the little things, Rob, I think really that recruiters pay attention to, is the little things that he does well as a quarterback.
Well, Johnson again, and a little off tackle play will pick up a small gain. And this Deptford team starting to gel now. 2 games into the season, 2-0. Kingsway and Cumberland. Cumberland probably the weak link of this Tri-County Conference. And there you see head coach Al Orio, 48-18 over the years. And in fact, 31 for his last 34 here at Deptford. That's pretty impressive.
That is outstanding, and he's got a great staff that works with him. Fun group to be around as well.
Johnson again to Leafy, and Leafy's cut down. It'll be about 3rd down and 3 now. Now, last year, Deptford did lose 1 game, and that was a surprise. So I think the last I recall, Sean, we had a 2 hot dog disparity. So here's your first trivia question.
Okay, first let's get to this run here. And this is something Clearview doesn't want to have happen. Lawyer's going to come up and get the hit. But that's you don't want Lawyer, you don't want Nelson coming up, and they're playing both ways, and they're your ball carriers. You want to keep them as fresh as possible. So the linemen and the linebackers have to do their jobs to try to give those guys a little bit of a break defensively.
And again, Johnson fakes the handoff, and he'll be very close to the first down. So this is a 1 hot dogger.
Okay.
All right. Who did they lose to last year?
Deptford. Who did they lose to?
Yes.
This is for a hot dog.
This is for a hot dog.
That was against Williamstown. Here's a run by Sheldon Johnson. You can see that great play fake. I mean, he fools just about everyone. Nice job by our camera people. They got to be on their toes today. Clearview does a nice job collapsing and swallowing them up, not before he picks up the first down. That was to Williamstown. I'm not even going to give you a little bonus. The reason why they lost that game didn't have anything to do with what was on the field. Al Orio didn't wear his shorts that night, something he usually comes to the game with. He didn't wear his shorts, and Deptford lost. So playing that squarely on the coach. 7 for 21, 154 yards, a couple of touches, the 1 interception. And this guy could have a huge year. You look at his numbers, you can't really indicate how good of a quarterback he is or what his ability is because Deptford's a running team. They're not going to, they get up on teams. You're not going to continue to throw the ball all over the field. So his numbers may not stack up against somebody like Eisenhart, but he's every bit as good as Eisenhart. I mean, the 2 terrific guys with big-time arms. The ability that Johnson has on the field is terrific. He's a guy that if he works hard, if he stays focused and really takes this thing seriously, it could take him a long way. And that's really important. When you see a guy of this talent, you want to make sure that he's focused on what he's doing. You want to get him the best opportunity to go on to college and have a very successful, not only career in football, but also in education. He has that. I mean, he has the ability to be a Division I recruit at some point because of his great size and his arm strength.
Johnson did get enough for the first down, and he'll hand to the man in motion around the ends. A big gain, penalty flag on the field. This one's going to come back and finally cut down after the big run. Melvin Ways, but hold on, this one's coming all the way back, Nelly.
Looks like you got a Clearview guy down, and that's what I mean. These guys from the secondary, that's Lawyer. He's making a lot of plays back there, and he's exerting a lot of energy. But you're going to get a hold right there. It even looks like maybe a clip, a block in the back that's going to pull this thing behind. And Clearview looked like they had the edge on him, but you can see the lack of speed to the edge. Clearview needs to get them going.
Look at use of the hands.
You can see they're not
on the offense.
Well, one of the things that head coach Pidcock was concerned about is the speed of Deptford and trying to negate their speed by keeping them inside. They were unable to do so, and right now Clint Lawyer is down in the secondary, and That's not a good sign for this Clearview Pioneers team.
Not at all. Not at all. You can see.
You saw a shot of Al Orio before. You mentioned that he forgot his shorts. I'm hopeful that you remembered your shorts today. But nonetheless, Coach is very, very superstitious. I know.
The illegal use of the hands on the offense, spot foul, 10 yards from the spot.
I know typically baseball is generally associated more with superstitions, but football coaches all have their quirks as well.
Oh, little things. I mean, you got Williamstown, they always touch the rock over there before the games, and there's just different things that each school has. I think Kingsway has something with the goalpost, and everyone's got their little things. And now Coach Orio with the shorts or something. Now let's take a look at here where Lawyer might have got injured. Like we've talked about last night, good safeties come and try to swat that ball away, and this is a helmet-to-helmet hit. Lawyer goes down. Can't really tell right there if it was, something that maybe with a helmet-to-helmet hit, but he looks like he's a little gimpy coming off the field now.
Well, head coach Orio talked about how many injuries his team has had. Let's quickly look at the Pioneer defense. Don Hart, Mazzillo, Faust, Curry, and Clendenning. Hagenberg, Chappelle, and Lawyer. And Nelson, Suhosky, and Aliberti.
Now they kind of brought Lawyer, and they're moving a lot of guys around from last week. Coach Pidcock wanted to make some changes, make some moves, and try and get his team to respond.
You see that leg drive of Leafy. This is a team that loves to spend some time in the weight room, and it's paid dividends over the past few years.
That's important for Clearview this week. To get those big guys involved. They're the ones that have to make the initial hit and the big hits. Because once those big running backs, once those guys that you see Leafy 22 for 216 yards and 4 touches.
Not too shabby,
pretty good
almost
start.
10 yards of carry for Leafy. Second down, and again, it's Johnson with the fake around. Johnson all by himself, down to the 30, 20. No one's going to catch. Sheldon Johnson, touchdown. Well, again, that starts all with the fake. Johnson's so adept at that fake handoff. And 56-yard run for Sheldon Johnson. Deptford strikes first.
We talked about the play fake, and he sells it better than anybody. As you can see, it even fooled our camera person because we're looking at the ball carrier, and Sheldon Johnson just tucks it and runs. He just hides the ball particularly well. And the one thing that he's going to do, and we might be able to see this, is he takes that second or two to really let the defense sell the fake, and then he explodes to the outside.
Kick is good. Deptford on top here. 5:20 remaining in this first quarter thanks to a 56-yard gallop by Sheldon Johnson. We head to break. Spartans by 7. Welcome back. Deptford to kick it away. A nice high kick by Ricky Rogers, and that will be taken at the 16-yard line. Dancing, it's Nelson. Nelson finds a seam, finally brought down, and their field position appreciably better at the 33-yard line. The Pioneers will try to even things up here.
Rob, we talked about the little things with Sheldon Johnson, and that's one of the little things as a quarterback you have to be impressed with when you see somebody like that who plays the same position as you, be able to sell that fake as effectively as he just did on that play. 7 plays, 75 yards, 6:08, capped off by SJ Sheldon Johnson on that play fake. And you'd love to get him in the open field with that long stride.
Eisenhart will hand it off to Lawyer. Lawyer back in the game, and of course that's a good sign.
Oh, terrific sign for the Pioneers.
Picked up about 5.
This is a tough kid. I mean, he's a football player, and he comes out, and when you talk about a guy you really want to come out, a football player, you can't measure anything but his heart and his strength of how he takes on this game. Look at him, he's just going to power his way. These guys are outweighing him by some 40 or 50 pounds, Rob, and he's taking on those hits. And that's really impressive when you see a guy like that. And I think it's really uplifting to your team as well. You want to work just as hard as a guy like that.
Second down. We'll call it 5. Eisenhart with in motion and a little end around, and that is shut down. Carmen Alberti.
They look like Sean Blackshear, one of the guys to meet him, number 45. Senior, 5'8", 235 pounds. And going to try to get something started here on the ground with Aliberti, and he's met by a couple of Deptford Spartans.
Well, you had two guards. You had the guard pulling, two men pulling there, a lineman, and still unable to contain that Deptford rush. And that backs him up. And about 3-yard loss there.
I know with Oreo, you know, he comes in coaching against Coach Pitcock, and one of the things he tells his guys, you got to really stay at home because they'll try and fake you out. Everything you've learned in football, Coach Pitcock will kind of destroy that and maybe use it against you.
Eisenhart flushed again and breaks the tackle to overthrow his lawyer. So Eisenhart escapes with his life.
Yep.
And once he got out of that pocket, he had a little bit more time. He may have been able to tuck it under or else buy some more time to find a man. That's a tough throw right there, and it falls incomplete. So Clearview forced to punt their first punt of the afternoon.
One of the things with Eisenhart is because of his size and strength, he can buy himself a little bit more time, and that is good for the receivers because of his ability to break tackles, to break that sack, and give his receivers time to make their cuts, get downfield. Just wasn't able to connect that time. You're right, he might have had a little bit more time to throw, but you can't see behind you. He's just trying to get rid of the football.
And the punt is a low line drive, fielded at the 29-yard line, onto the 40 and finally cut down. So first down and 10 here for Deptford, and the return of about 11 yards by Jury Folks.
So I'll tell you, sometimes you guys don't get, you know, they only get mentioned when they make mistakes on that kickoff team or return team. Nice job by TJ Reed for doing simply nothing for Deptford. That time he had a guy coming down with Clearview, and he just doesn't block him in the block him in the back because would have got him a penalty. That time smartly doesn't touch the Clearview Pioneer and allows this guy to pick up 6 or 7 yards. Just being smart like that, Robin, can be the difference of 15 or 20 yards.
Johnson again to Leafy, and Leafy's cut down after pickup of about 5. You know, kind of interesting, Sean. You got lawyer for Clearview and jury for Deptford. So you got the lawyer and the jury. Just need a judge here, and you got it all.
Well, you're the criminal.
I'm the criminal?
You're stealing money from Comcast.
Smooth criminal?
Smooth criminal. That's a little Michael Jackson, right? Smooth
or
criminal.
Alien Ant Farm.
Yeah, we're in Alien Ant Farm.
Second down and 5. One man in the back. That's James Bundy. And not much there.
James Bundy, the son of Jimmer Bundy. Jimmer Bundy, a great running back for Woodbury at one point in time, was such a power to bring down in the late 80s, early 90s.
Third down, and we'll call it a long 3 here for the Spartans. So this is a big defensive stop. Over the last week, Clearview did not force the opposition to punt. And that's obviously a trend they have to stop if they expect to be successful. Third down and 3, Johnson. I formation in the backfield. Again, right up the gut, and that's a big push by that offensive line. And again, not a good sign here for the Pioneers early.
Nah, that surge, and I know they're going to make a lot of moves. There you see Brandon Williams, 19 carries coming into this game, 160 yards. And, you know, one thing that they're hurting is that running back position. So they're going to need Brandon Williams to carry a little bit today and pick up some tough yards in the middle. And, of course, when you're able to pick up first downs after a couple of plays, especially the way they're running the football, they're going to do well.
Williams is a guy who just played 3 or 4 games last year as a sophomore. And Coach Oreo said he's someone that's really developing. And you can see the maturation going on within the junior. And they like what they see. And obviously, as the season progresses, he's only going to get better.
You know, so in high school football, Rob, it's always so important to stop the big play. You know, Clearview, even though they've shown even last week, there was times where they were able, you know, it looked like they were going to hold Delsey in check, but they allowed too many of the big plays. And even though the surge seemed to wear them down, you can hold a team and stay in a game, and especially the way we've seen Clearview's offense work over last week against a very good Delsey team, they can move the ball through the air. They just have to stay in the game, kind of bend but don't break, and then when they need it, try and make a big play or allow Deptford to hurt themselves.
Second down for the Spartans. Johnson drop back across the middle. And it's caught. He finds Ryan Brown, the big 202-pound senior, and that'll be enough for the first down.
Yeah, that's a nice target, but you could see there's the arm strength on Johnson, Rob. I mean, that's impressive. Little flick of the wrist, and he fires a dart over the middle of the field. That doesn't allow, and that's so important. You know, watch this ball. That is a perfect tight spiral. And you could see the Clearview kid reacts to the linebackers coming up. He's going to try to make a play on it, but it's thrown so perfectly and so quickly. You know, a lot of other people who makes that pass that could be picked in the Tri-County Royal.
And again, Johnson with the fake, and he's cut down. He'll pick up about 3 or 4. You know, Johnson's someone that, as you mentioned, he has good arm strength, but you know, the good thing about this offense is that it's so dynamic. Johnson really doesn't have to throw very often.
No, it doesn't. And there's other things. I know he's a great talent, but it also helps big time when you're able to run the ball effectively, because it opens up everything for your quarterback. He's able to sell that fake a little bit more because you're going to collapse down.
And again, it's Leafy, and this time Leafy's not going anywhere. So again, a long third down here for the Spartans. And at this point, Sean, we're looking at 4-down territory because they don't have the kicking game that will allow them to opt for a field goal. We'll talk some more about that as we head to break. We're through the first quarter, and it's Deptford on top of Clearview, 7-0. Welcome back to Deptford. It was Ryan Leafy who was shaken up. We're back to start the second quarter. Sheldon Johnson throws it down the middle, has a man off his fingertips. And that was a nice pass by Johnson looking for big Brandon Kersey.
Yeah, you're right. Big is right. 6'3", 184, and he was open behind the defense. Clearview putting a little pressure, and they were able to come on blitz and hit Sheldon Johnson from the backside. And this pass is laid perfectly for his receiver to catch. And that's the spot where you want to throw the football, Rob. It's a spot where you're giving your receiver a chance to come down with it, but you're not throwing it short where it can get either tipped or, even more importantly, picked off. So Johnson putting the ball in the numbers. Good pass, just not able to come up.
Fourth down, and then all by himself. On his feet, cut down at about the 12. And again, the play fake by Sheldon Johnson, the fake pitch, almost the Statue of Liberty, essentially. And Brandon Williams had nothing but open space. Look at this fake by Johnson.
Just perfect. Just perfect from the whole entire offensive line, the way they sell it. There was nobody at home. And then Clint Lawyer, again, coming up, making a play. Outstanding work by him, fighting off a block and saving a touchdown for the time being. Nice job by Lawyer.
What a big pickup on fourth down. 18 yards and first down and 10. This Deptford offense is rolling once again. Johnson will hand off and cut down maybe at the line of scrimmage. No, probably a loss of about 2. That's Melvin Ways.
Melvin Ways is caught down by a torpedo. Justin Kiernan, 5'11", 180. The junior's going to come through the defense, knifing through, and then pulls them down. Nice job by Kiernan to make the stop, and a big play defensively for the Pioneers. Remember that tackle by Lawyer, saving a touchdown. How many times have we said that, Rob, where a guy will come out, save a touchdown, and you'll see the defense respond to that. Kiernan on that play, fired up because he knows guy to his right, Lawyer, is going to make a play for him and prohibit that touchdown. That's a great job by Lawyer. I can't say enough. When you're getting blocked, you fight off the block and then stop a big, powerful back like that.
Second down and 13 as there's a referee's timeout on the field. Bucks can't quite make it out at this angle if there's a player who's shaken up on the field. I believe that's the case, although I don't see anybody from the training staff out there.
Might be an equipment problem right now that they're trying to just get worked out.
Here you see head coach Al Orio. And now we're going to get started here. So second down, we'll call it 13. And a full house backfield for Johnson. Johnson again, hands off, and Ways around the corner. Ways cut down, and he'll get back to...
He was able to pick up some yardage there. Looks like he's probably going to be about the 9-yard line.
Our vantage point here in the press box is tough. 8-yard pickup for Ways.
Wade's doing a nice job of dipping that shoulder as he tries to turn the corner and picks up an extra yard or two.
3rd down. Again, Clearview's defense being asked to hold here. I formation for Johnson. Back to pass, has time. A little pressure, throws it out and cut down immediately is Ryan Leafy. So Leafy's back in the game, and of course that's a good sign. But again, a 4th down here for Deptford, and we'll see if they bring on the special teams.
Nice job by Suhasky there. You see him, number 21, 5'11", 170, a senior, is going to go with the screen here and doesn't get faked out. Delsey, again, Johnson doing the little things. Looks to the right. All knows the pass is coming back left to Leafy. A good sign that you're right for Deptford, and that's going to bring up the 4th down and a field goal try.
Rogers to attempt the field goal at an off angle. He kicks it up. He has enough, and it is good. So Rogers with the field goal. And it's Deptford on top now, 10-0.
I think it's a 26-yarder, Rob, and that's a nice job. Even had a little bit of backspin on it as it went through.
So a little wedge.
Hit a little wedge. He's got to get it up and throw. Nice job by Rogers of booting it. Right? They don't have, all apologies to Rogers. They don't have a guy like Beast who was, a big-time kicker for Deptford and was able to hit some big booming field goals. But he's a steady guy, and it gives him an opportunity. He's able to boot it through, and that's so important for a team like Deptford who expects to be into the playoff system. You need a guy who's going to be able to, special teams become such an important role in playoff action.
That's almost on the outside perimeter of his range. I'd say maybe 30 yards, and they're probably not going to go for anything much longer than that. But
he's 32, 33. If you go with that backspin, that might hurt if it hits the crossbar.
Depending on the wind as well. So again, Rogers will kick it away here. Clearview finds himself again behind early, 10-0. Tough spot for the Pioneers. We're in the 2nd quarter, 10:28 remaining, and Rogers will kick it away. It's short and it's high, and it will be returned. Picked up at the 15-yard line, and a big seam cut down at about the 32. So 1st and 10, again, decent field position for the Pioneers off the return from DJ Nelson.
Expect the Pioneers maybe to come out and try to move the ball through the air here. They do have a nice passing attack with Eisenhart, and they can get a couple guys involved in that offense. Expect to see Clendenning, the tight end, eventually become some type of factor in the game, but they can go, as we've seen last week against Delsey, they can go deep with Nelson, who's a terrific receiver, or Lawyer.
Pitch, and a little pickup there by Lawyer.
That's a nice, it might be only 3 or 4 yards, but, you move in a positive direction, and you don't want to just come out and consistently pass the ball because you're going to get those defensive ends coming up and just teeing off on your quarterback. That's a nice little gain on 1st down. He's able to pick up about 5 yards. Quick little spin move by Lawyer. Now you can do some different things. You see the Johnson along with Ricky Rogers, 2 point scorers so far in this game. That's correct.
Eisenhart has the screen set up. He's got blockers. And still on his feet, bowling his way forward. More than enough for the 1st down, Chappelle. And Chappelle is someone that they want to incorporate in this offense today.
Well, they want to do a lot of different things with Chappelle and Clendenning. They ask those guys to really try and make an impact. You're going to see the 6'2", 235-pound senior. And this is just a bowling ball here. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's a big, tough guy, and he's going to try to set up his blockers. Here he is trying to use his blocker effectively, decides on going inside, sheds the tackler, which is a nice move. That move there just gives him a chance to pick up the 1st down. He doesn't want to be just a big guy. He's going to make some moves there with his feet.
44-yard line, 1st down and 10. It's Chappelle and Lawyer, and it's Chappelle who gets it. The quick hitter, and there's nothing there for Chappelle. Well, I'm talking with head coach Alorio before the game. He said, football is one in the trenches, and this is something that you and I talk about all the time. And he said that's going to be the deciding point today. Right now, Deptford's had the best of it.
Yeah, and they normally do when whoever they go up against in the Royal, and that's something you can't not go to it all the time. Clearview people say, and a lot of people in the stands, they think they're the coaches and say, why don't you go in that play? Why do you got to run it? You have to try and establish some type of run. Otherwise, the defense, if you take that away, it's going to tee off on your quarterback in your running game.
Eisenhart throws it up for grabs and falls incomplete. Well, I'll tell you what, Melvin Ways did not pick up that football.
Nope.
And that was a ball that was almost like a punt. I mean, it could have been a fair catch there.
I'll tell you what, and this is a play where your quarterback feels really comfortable with getting the ball to Nelson. He knows this guy's going to be able to go up and get it. Nelson has a great ability to leap and go after a football. And that time, people say it's a bad passer. Maybe he's trying to throw that ball behind his receiver, so he kind of bites downfield, get that cornerback to kind of be looking at you and not behind at the football, and then go up and get it. We saw it last week. It resulted into a touchdown after Lawyer was able to get a tipped pass. But that's something that they work on, and you can see the nice arm strength by Eisenhart trying to go downfield.
Third down, Eisenhart. Again, the end around and tripped up by his own man. That was just a Pioneer collision.
Well, I'll tell you what, Eddie House blows that play up. The senior was coming on a blitz, 5'9", 222, comes firing through the line and is able to blow that entire play up. Takes not only the blocker out, but makes him run into his own man. Watch House come into the picture. Just ruins everything that the Pioneers had in store for that play. Outstanding play by House.
Hagenberg runs right into Sohosky, and that will result in another Clearview punt here. So Clearview having a tough time getting this offense rolling and answering the potent attack of Deptford. High short punt, and fortunate for Deptford that it did not hit one of their own players. It is downed at the 25-yard line by Clint Lawyer. That will allow us to step away after the 35-yard punt. There's 7:48 left in this first half, and it's Deptford by 10. Welcome back to Deptford High School, and Johnson immediately shaking off tackles, and he'll have enough for the first down. So Sheldon Johnson, first play here after the punt, and Johnson getting things rolling, and now some jawing going back and forth between Clearview and Deptford.
Except for when Chris
really
Wood
expect to see from these two teams, because these two teams are very well coached, and both coaches really stress discipline.
But it's always when you get these two teams together. I know they stress discipline, but every once in a while you're going to get a couple guys wolfing. But it all stopped when Chris Wood came over. 6 foot, 298 pounds, and Chris Wood's going to break everything up. But you can see Johnson and Nelson kind of going back at each other here. Neither one of these guys want to back down, as they're both kind of in each other's faces. Both highly competitive.
Johnson gets short spot there, picked off right across the middle. Clearview with a key turnover, what they've been looking for. He's got some blocking in front, and finally cut down. A big turnover there as Johnson gets it picked off by Hagenberg.
Nice job by Hagenberg. Just going to sit in the middle of the field, and that's one of those sacks. I mean, that's one of the plays. Suhosky, you can see him here, coming from the backside, almost gets to him again. They tried that earlier, and this time causes Sheldon Johnson to throw the ball probably a little too soon. Receiver also might have got hung up there, and there was nobody but Hagenberg in the middle of the field. Does a nice job of setting up his blockers going across the field. The Pioneers need to respond off this turnover and give them some momentum now after the big interception.
25 yards returned by Hagenberg, and the Pioneers looking for any type of spark to get them rolling. And now they call a timeout. And this is something that I really hate to see from any team. You get a big play, and then right away you call a timeout, and all of your momentum thrown right out the window.
Well, it's not even so much momentum, Rob, but you might have a team who's going into the game not set, not thinking. They just had the big play, and sometimes it just doesn't give you a chance to focus on what you're doing. And that's why teams like to go deep after a big interception or something. It doesn't give that time to really set it up. There you see our Comcast area top 5. Top 10. That'll change next week, because Shawn is coming into this weekend action. Pennsauken and Shawnee, two of the top teams. Those two teams did meet this week, and we do know that Shawnee beat Pennsauken on Friday night. Delsey with an impressive win last week against Clearview. Should be a very tough team in the Tri-County Royal. West Deptford and Deptford, two teams in the Group 2. Everyone's excited about a possible matchup down the road there. Camden Catholic's been a strong team. They always have some good programs, including football this year. Paulsboro having to squeak out a win against Collingswood, a come from behind win. St. Joe's, big-time program in the Cave. And then you have Glassboro and Washington Township. But the Bulldogs making the list at number 9. A very good team in our area who a lot of people are thinking down the road. I mean, look at some of these matchups, you know, and you don't want to get ahead of yourself. There's a lot of football in every week. Every week you can get charged up about these matches. You got Deptford Delsey coming up this game today.
I think Glassboro, you know, again, as you mentioned, starting to gel. Of course, in Group 2 now. Question is, Paulsboro, some of the Group 1 teams say maybe they're a little vulnerable. They were down 12-0 at the half yesterday to Collingswood. Collingswood, of course, unable to seal the deal.
It just goes to show you, if you play good defense the way Collingswood is playing this year, you can keep yourself in a game. They opened up a lead, but Paulsboro showing that character coming back.
Inside, deep screen. Nelson cuts it back inside. Nelson able to pick up a nice chunk, but again, an empty backfield there for Eisenhart, and they throw that deep screen.
Nelson just trying to make a play there. Don't know if he was able to cut outside. He would have maybe gotten more yards just going straight ahead. But he's trying to make a play, trying to go inside, use his blockers.
Well, again, that's a play that's set up specifically for Nelson to isolate him because of his
open field. Right.
And then it's a one-on-one situation. So second down here for Clearview. For that play, almost outgained 2-1 by Deptford. Chappelle bullying his way forward. Chappelle forcing his way towards the goal line. Just refused to be denied after that first tackler and just kept pushing forward. And now Clearview starting to get it into gear.
Well, you just want to feed the big fella. You know, they came in this week and they asked these guys to respond. And this is the way Chappelle's going to respond. Just a tough run, holding on to that football, but barreling people over. And that's what you want to see out of your leaders like Chappelle, Clendenning, to come in here this week and to respond from the week that they had last against Delsey, to kind of come in here and maybe push a couple of guys around.
12-yard gain for Chappelle and the Pioneers. First down and goal for Clearview at the 4. Eisenhart, Chappelle pushing forward. Deptford line holds. And a big round of applause from a nice crowd here on Saturday afternoon. Of course, it's become a Deptford tradition, a late Saturday afternoon game here.
Well, that's a wall that's hard to break down, is that Deptford defense. And, you know, you get a nice play with Chappelle. That time they try to go back to it. Deptford's just too strong up front. You're not going to get many big plays up the middle against this team.
Well, Chappelle's, you know, going to be able to break down 1 or 2 guys, but again, when you've got the bulk of that Deptford line there, 4 or 5 guys, and then the reinforcements come, that's a little too much for anybody. I formation again. Chappelle and a fumble. Deptford comes away with it. On top of that, Deptford's Sean Blackshear, and that's something that Clearview could ill afford.
This time they're going to try to go back to Chappelle. That looked like the handoff was never really exchanged over to Chappelle. It never even got into his hands.
Looks like Eisenhart's handoff was down below his belt, and Chappelle unable to come away with it. So that's a tough break for the Pioneers. Deep in their own end, Deptford comes away with the critical turnover. They'll start on offense again, 1st and 10. They have a 10-yard edge. Split wide left for Deptford is Andrew Bittner. We'll see if Johnson will keep it on the ground. Johnson will hand off right up the gut. Fumble! Clearview falls on it. Touchdown. No signal yet.
Inside the end zone.
No, I think because the ball, he slid into the end zone. So they're spotting it, looks like about the half-inch mark, and I think that's a good call. Clearview rolled into the end zone with the football. Watch where it comes out. Maybe a problem with the exchange here.
Here's the ball.
And the ball's It did get in the hand, but see the way that ball is?
That's a touchdown.
I don't know. You know what?
That's a
I don't know. I think you're right. I think it might have been
when
touchdown.
the momentum pushes the ball in, he does not take possession of the football until
it might have been on the line anyway. It might have been on the line. It was close, and it is hard to see from where we are, but
well, we'll see whether it matters. First down and 10. Clearview gets that football right back, and this may be a spot for Eisenhart.
Oh, right now, 6-1. Let the big guy do his work.
Eisenhart does it, and he's in for the touchdown. Jared Eisenhart with the 1-yard carry, and it's now 10-6 for Deptford.
Some pushing and shoving going on down there. This is a football game. And a great play. I love the play call. I love it. When you got a big guy down there, the quickest point is from A to B, straight ahead with the quarterback. You see that play work very often because there's not a lot of handoffs going on. There's no quick pitch. There's not giving the ability for the defense to think. They just have to react. And
There is a penalty flag on the field, and we're not sure.
This is after the play, probably.
Who this is going to go up against, and from the looks of it and talking to Clearview, this may go against Deptford. They'll probably assess it on the kick.
Right behind center. You're just going to get Eisenhart go with the surge, and you just tell your big guys up front, listen, give me a little bit of push, and I'll find a little bit of a crease and get in.
Well, of course, I was wrong, so it's going against Clearview, and it's going to be a very long extra point.
After the play, we have unsportsmanlike on the offense.
And this is just one of the second, they always say about this on during the NFL, it's a second guy in. He might get him pushed first.
35-yard extra point.
And this is after the play right here. So you get a little nudge there, little nudge by the Deptford guy.
Kick is up, and the kick is good. Well, one of the more exciting extra points you'll see here on Channel 5. 35-yarder, had enough for 38, maybe 40. And it's 10-7. Clearview strikes back there within 3. Well, it's funny because you said you saw the little headbutt there by the Spartans, a little frustration, and it's Clearview that gets it, the assessment against them.
Yep.
But it's all for naught as the extra point is good, and we have ourselves a football game. And again, Clearview still really unable to stop this Deptford offense. Deptford stopping themselves that last time. You got to sense the momentum kind of swing Clearview's way. They need to come up and force the team to punch, Shawn.
Well, you're right, but let's give some credit to the Pioneers on defense. You know, it's the little things when you look at the film and you say, all right, what did we do well here? Suhasky comes on that blitz. That's going to force the quarterback to throw maybe a little bit earlier, thus you have the interception. So I know that you're right, they do have to stop somebody defensively at the line of scrimmage, but there is some guys out there like Suhasky who are playing real hard today, coming out and making plays. He's not credited with anything on that play. He doesn't even touch the quarterback until late, you know, after the play's over. But he just disrupted it enough to make Sheldon Johnson throw the ball a little quicker than he wanted to. Hagenberg able to intercept it, and Clearview's got 6 eventually.
Well, Clearview will be kicking it away. Dell Thomas will be kicking to Melvin Ways or Ryan Leafy. Thomas kicks and taking it down. So Melvin Ways receives the ball with the knee down, which means he's downing the ball at the 15. A tough break for the Spartans.
Ways here, ball coming down. Great job by our cameraman. Be able to pick this up. And you can see the knee is down. Terrific job by probably Mark Bideman on the sideline, one of the top camera people on the sideline for Comcast, wouldn't you say?
No question.
He's the only one we have, but he does a great job. He's been around here for a long time with us and does a good job on them sidelines. It's hard to pick that. You ever tried doing that? Try to pick the ball up while it's in the air and on the sideline?
I haven't done camera since my college days. And you didn't even think they had cameras back then, did you?
No, just diagram.
Leafy cut down. Gain of maybe 2. So 10-7 Deptford here with 4:10 and counting.
We see some of these big boys for Deptford, probably led by Joshua Soper, a senior, 6'3", 295, and Al Rear. So this is probably a Division I guy. He's worked extremely hard.
He's getting some interest from Toledo, Temple, Eastern Michigan, some of the
Toledo Spartans right now. They're trying to pull some guys from this Deptford area.
And again, right up the middle and just absolutely corralled. So not much there and a big third down here. You got a sense that Clearview, this could kind of be a turning point for them, because if they give up another third down, they've seen it happen so often, but something they have to be cognizant of is that play fake from Johnson. They just have to stay home. Split left for Deptford is big Brandon Kersey, the 6'3" wideout. And split right, the diminutive one, Bittner, 5'5". Johnson, sprint out. Has time, throws underneath Leafy. breaks a tackle. Leafy on his way down the sideline, cuts it back inside, brought down at the 44. And again, a big play by the Spartan offense.
By that time, it looks like Suhasky, again, coming from the right side, has a shot to be able to come and disrupt the play again from Sheldon Johnson. But because of his flakes, because of the screens that Deptford runs, he's going to just try and stay home and contain it. And then, I don't know about that. I thought so maybe on the first look, but seeing that replay, might have got away with one. But nice job by Leafy to pull that in, sell the catch. And Leafy, just a terrific running back, able to break that shoestring attempt for a tackle.
That was a great look. Again, you've seen some great camera work today from our Comcast Channel 5. So
let's take one more look at that.
Take a look at that again, Shawn. It looks like right here, he's got that on the ground. Look at that.
Yep, you can. Tries to pull that in. He does a nice job of keeping both hands on it, though. The one thing he was able to do is get both hands on it and pull it up.
I don't think
so he sells it anyway.
Yeah, right, but I don't think he had his hands underneath. I think Deptford caught a little bit of a break there. Johnson,
why are you trying to bring a young man down?
Throws it across the middle, tipped up, and caught! What a great catch made by Deptford's Ryan Brown. And there you see some of the touch of Sheldon Johnson.
Johnson, you talked about it, the touch. He's just going to throw this up for 28 yards and allow Ryan Brown an opportunity to go up and get a terrific touch there, right in the middle of the field, and you can see the different things that this Sheldon Johnson is able to do. He has basically everything in his book.
Well, he threaded the needle there as he threw it underneath the safety, and Johnson fakes around. Johnson all by himself. Sheldon Johnson, touchdown. It's become the Sheldon Johnson show, a 26-yard pass followed by a 26-yard touchdown run. And just like that, Deptford increases their lead 16-7, awaiting the point after.
Well, Brandon Kersey better get Best Supporting Actor because he did a terrific job knocking the receiver or knocking the cornerback down and giving Johnson an open lane where he could run. Terrific block downfield by the big wide receiver.
Well, we mentioned that third down was going to be critical, and we'd see how the defense would respond, and they did not. And as a result, it's now back to a 10-point lead. And there you see Sheldon Johnson, the talented junior, who, of course, ran this offense last year and is just getting better. 6'1", 180.
Yeah, I can't say enough about what Johnson's able to do, but again, got to go over and give some love to Kersey because he sprung him. That was a terrific block on the outside by the big wide receiver to get things going there. 6 plays, 85 yards.
Johnson, 5 carries.
You see that group down there? Excited about what's going on with this team. It almost seems, Rob, like, and you kind of know this, and I think this is going on with West Deptford and Deptford now, and I talked to Coach Oreo yesterday, and he goes, you know, sometimes just with the team, and you see how they respond out there, it almost helps you with your coaching. You know, you got guys who know how to win, know what it takes to get done, and after you win a couple of years, you're going to, you know, continue to get better and better. You can see Johnson nearing 100 yards now. But the team's going to get better and better just on reputation alone. Just on, you know, when a team, it seems like they lose a little bit of momentum, bang, they come right back and score on you. And that's something that, you know, you really don't even have to coach because they've learned it from the players before.
Ball is fumbled. Not much urgency. Ooh. Big block laid out and slung down inside the 5-yard line.
Oh, there's some hitting going on.
I tell you what, not much going right here for Clearview except the big block laid out by DJ Nelson.
You got to love that. Josh Burnett, the senior, gets up after he's leveled and comes up and pats the Clearview guy on the head and says, good hit. But look at this. He's going to get laid out right there. Terrific look. Nice hit again by Lure, and then Deptford says, all right, I'm going to come back. That was J.C. Clement, I believe. Comes down and hauls them down to the earth. It looks like we have about the 6-yard line right now, so this is a spot for Clearview.
Well, Hagenberg dropped the ball, and then there didn't seem to be much urgency after he picked it up, and that resulted in a catastrophe. Right up the middle, Chappelle into the secondary, and finally cut down at the 25. A big gain, and that's just what the doctor ordered for the Pioneers.
Exactly right. Like I said earlier, a lot of people say, oh, why is he going straight up the middle? This is a tough team. You need this. You need this in your arsenal to be able to open things up on the outside. So this is very important, not only for a big run to get you out of your own territory, but also to set things up for your team later on.
Well, 1:10 and counting, so looks like Clearview's pretty much content to let the clock run out here and go to the locker room, as again, not much urgency to try to get a 2-minute offense in place. 25-yard line for Eisenhart. He has Chappelle, and in motion, that's Lawyer. Eisenhart back to pass, getting flushed out. Eisenhart, and he's slung down.
Having a game. Sean Blackshear. All over Eisenhart on this play. Coming off the edge, no one's there to contain him. He's able to hunt Eisenhart down and hold on. Eisenhart smartly securing that ball as he's being pulled down. Still 26 seconds, but I'm sure Clearview now exactly right. They're going to be content to go into halftime trailing 17-7, see if they can work something in the second half.
Well, as you mentioned, both teams content to let this first half run out, and the handoff to Chappelle. Chappelle still on his feet. A sizable pickup as he's past the original line of scrimmage, but again, with 3 seconds left, they'll watch it run out, and Deptford will head to the locker room with a 10-point edge. We head to break. Deptford on top of Clearview, 17-7. Welcome back to Deptford High School. Third quarter about to get underway. Deptford on top of Clearview by 10, and the Pioneers will kick it off. Received at the 16-yard line by Ways. Ways dances, shimmies, shakes, brought down. First and 10, Deptford at the 31-yard line. Let's take a look at our halftime statistics. First downs, 2-1 edge for Deptford. And again, total yards, more than a 2-1 edge there. Penalties relatively even. The turnovers, 2 by Deptford. The fumble right after the Clearview turnover, and also the interception. And Clearview getting their lone touchdown on a drive that consisted of all of about 9 inches.
Well, that's it. The points off turnovers is what counts for Clearview. They're able to at least to get something. They had the 2 turnovers that really led to that score. But that distinct yardage advantage for Deptford is something Clearview has to stop.
Right up the gut. Leafy on his feet. Leafy cuts it back inside across midfield. Brought down 46-yard line. Good start here for the Spartans.
What I really like about this run is the end of it. What Leafy's going to do, and the one thing, if you could find anything negative to say about Deptford, is they have that high-risk offense, and sometimes you're going to fumble. We've said that already in this game. Once he goes through the line, he manages to hold on to the football, wrap up with both hands. Once he gets to the outside, watch him here. All right, nice move. Now he's going to cover up. He knows that the pressure's coming from the backside, so he covers up, not allowing those guys to come from the backside and strip the ball from him.
First down and 10, I formation for Deptford. Sheldon Johnson, again, right up the middle. And a big surge by that Deptford line, 4-yard carry. First drive here in the second half for Deptford. And you see Williams with the big push.
Now, Deptford comes into this game, Rob, and like you said, they're a little tight with their couple of tailbacks missing. Lance Moore and also Rothmiller, 2 of the guys, the running backs that they had to start the year. Again, injuries plaguing the Spartans this year, this time at the tailback position, but they do have some depth there.
Ryan Leafy taking the Clearview defense for a ride and a first down. And right now, it's all Deptford.
Well, he took a look at what happened last week with Delsey. Deptford saw the same thing, scouting that game and saying, listen, we could run in between the tackles on Clearview. Obviously, Clearview had to adjust this week, made some changes, and have tried to put Clendenning and Chappelle all over the field to give Deptford some different looks. But Deptford still with that powerful line, too much of a surge up front. There was going to shift to the right.
Johnson Hands off, Leafy hit immediately.
Good play call
And
defense.
Loss of about 1 yard there.
So you need to try and do something, Rob. When you're getting blown off the football, you need to try to create somehow. And that time they do it. They kind of shift everybody over, give Deptford a different look, and then shooting through the line is Justin Kiernan. We've seen this guy a couple times now be able to shoot through that line. He has good speed at the point of impact, gets through the line, and pulls down the runner for a loss. I mean, that's a nice play by Kiernan.
Second down, we'll call it 11 here. Early in the third quarter, 9:50 and counting. Deptford with the 10-point lead. Sheldon Johnson has really been the story. And there's Johnson again handing off. And Leafy with a good push. Picks up about 5, so a critical third down here for really Clearview.
Let's take a look at the push on that left side. I mean, there's a lot of manpower on that side. You're going to see Soper here come into your picture, number 53, who's just a big, strong tackle. They got some meaty guys at over 295 pounds over on the left side of that line. You got Joshua Soper. Also Chris Wood, 6 foot, 298 pounds, just people movers.
So third down here for Johnson and the Spartans. Johnson, option, keeps it. Johnson on his way. Sheldon Johnson, touchdown. Well, I mentioned it's been the Sheldon Johnson show, and it's not over yet.
Boy, this kid has come out to play here today, and what a terrific job. We just spotlighted the left side of that line. That's where they're going to go this time. And again, if you're able to move the football, and Clearview's going to put 11 guys in that box, they're going to try and shut down the run. That play fake is going to work very effectively. And again, Sheldon Johnson able to pull it in and unable to stop it. And then that's where that surge hurts you. When you get that too much push up front, you got to try to combat it with something, and it's going to make you susceptible to the play fake.
Well,
everyone collapses, and he's just going to take it himself, and too much of a line. They're collapsing down on those backs too much, and then everything's open to the outside.
Johnson runs this option so well, and there you see one of the many intangibles as he reads the defense, saw the seam, cut it inside, and with that explosiveness, he's now over the century mark. That was a 20-yard touchdown run, and Sheldon Johnson, you couple the heads-up play of Johnson. He's smart. He doesn't pitch when he's in trouble. He reads the defense well. He's got an extraordinary play fake. That's a formula for a pretty darn good option quarterback.
Pretty good option quarterback, and again, this is for high school. To get to the college level and to be a big time in college, you got to really work extremely hard, not only with your physical skills on the field, but off the field. You got to get stronger, bigger, and that's something that, you know, he's really got to improve if he's going to hit that next level. But when you look at him straight here, I mean, he's just a great quarterback. He's got a good quarterback coach with Pat Landis there, who comes from actually Clearview. So Clearview's loaning out one of its guys with Pat Landis to the Deptford Spartans for a while, and he has Sheldon Johnson playing at a pretty high level.
Lawyer takes the kick, and he is pushed backwards. A big hit there. And again, this Deptford team is fired up. Clearview is going to have to come up with a drive here because their defense has really struggled this afternoon.
Well, they're up against a great defense, a great defensive coach with Mike Blackiston, who's been with this program in his 6th year now, and you look at this coaching staff with Casella, Pete Oreo, John Casella, Pete Oreo, McGulligan, Coach Landis, Jenkins, and Anderson. I mean, these guys, they just really do the job during the week. They scout. They seem like they're everywhere watching games, and they're just doing a terrific job of scouting the team, taking away their strong points and exploiting their weak points. And that's what they're doing with Clearview. They realize that we can run the football up and down the field in the middle of them, and our ball fake is going to work for them. And that's really been the difference today. That ball fake has really hampered Clearview throughout the day, and it's got them in a big hole here early in the second half.
Well, Eisenhart able to hook up and come close to that first down marker. One of the bonuses of this Clearview team, again, is that Eisenhart has good arm strength. He can throw the football. He's got some skilled hands people, and that will allow them to come back into this game relatively quickly without eating up clock. But again, the critical component is they can't seem to stop anybody, and if you can't stop anybody, obviously you're going to have a tough go of it. There's Chappelle, and Chappelle has been a bull, continues to pick up large chunks. Clearview gaining some momentum, And there you see the big guy, Chappelle.
Well, you got to be encouraged by Chappelle, and this is great calling by Coach Bigcock, because he sees that I can give it to this guy, and he wants the football. I'm going to give it to him and let him go with it. And right now, Chappelle is being a man for Clearview, manning up and hitting that inside of the Deptford line and really exploiting it when it's really not exploitable for most teams. Chappelle, 7 carries now, 52 yards.
Across the midfield stripe goes Clearview. And that'll bring up a second down. We'll call it 6 for the Pioneers. Clearview again coming off that loss last week here on Channel 5 against Delsey. And Deptford with an easy one against Cumberland. Of course, Delsey, the recipient of some fine Cumberland players that moved, I guess you could say, into Delsey's district.
Say that.
Second down. Again, Chappelle into block. Eisenhart throws a nice out pattern. Yep. Finds DJ Nelson. That'll stop the clock and pick up a first down.
I just really like Eisenhart. I mean, he's a tough competitor. He's going to get in his players' faces, and you know, those guys. I think right now, that, you know, they're kind of at each other a little bit going into the locker room. I know they're a little scuffling between each other, but they're fired up right now, and that just shows that, you know, they're competitors. They want to come out and play extremely hard in the second half. And nice job by Eisenhart on that little out pattern. He's got a nice arm where he's able to get that ball out. A lot of players, again, in the Tri-County Royal can't make that play. There's a couple of guys that we've seen just cannot make that play, and Eisenhart obviously one of the guys that can.
First down and 10 for the Pioneers. Inside of 7 minutes. Eisenhart hands off, finds Lawyer, and Lawyer with a nice gain, about 9 yards. And Clint Lawyer's not happy, as jury folks gave him a little bit of extra afterwards. And folks, that would be some poor decision making here.
As
they say, let sleeping dogs lie. Lawyer 5 carries, 19 yards on this afternoon with 6:10 left. Clearview driving. They trail by 17. Again, Chappelle and Lawyer at your backfield. Split wide right is Alberti. And Chappelle continuing to pound forward. Chappelle has done quite a job this afternoon, just picking up some tough yards and in big chunks.
Well, I love it. You talk about guys who come and respond. You know, I talked about big Clearview fullbacks over the years, and I failed to mention Chappelle and what he's done for this team this year. And he's kind of shutting me up right now because he's running with his heart out. That is a terrific job by Chappelle to be able to run straight up the middle. And watch the power from this guy. Did he come to play today? This is the kind of effort that you need when you have a bad week the previous week. Chappelle's just running through people right now, running over people. Nice job by Chappelle. I don't know how. Looked like maybe Clendenning could be down number 54.
I believe it's number 2, DJ Nelson.
Oh, Nelson.
Let's take a look at what's going on this week here on Channel 5. Wednesday at 7, Thursdays at 10 o'clock. It's your high school sports report. John Mondelli with our own Shawn P. Leary. And, of course, the game of the week, Williamstown and Kingsway, which was played last evening. That'll air on Monday at 8 o'clock. Thursday, the 6th, at 8 o'clock. Bob Shryock along with Shawn P. Leary.
That was a nice
Shawn
game.
P. Leary Network.
Nah, I don't say that. Give me, Stan's already saying I work too much. I need the money right now.
First down and 10. That's coming right into your living room. Chappelle, 69 yards. And Eisenhart, I believe we may have had a miscommunication, a broken play, and Eisenhart is dropped for a short loss.
And one of the changes they made, we just had a former Pioneer who was in the 9th grade with the Clearview system, actually moved to Pittman, Troy Black, who brought it up. Number 54 is in the backfield. And what they've done is with Clendenning is they've kind of put him all over the field today for the Clearview Pioneers. They wanted to try and give him an opportunity to be on the field in different spots, and as a big blocking back, number 54, to get back there and open up some holes in the middle. And we've seen that work pretty well today with Chappelle.
Eisenhart, I formation, back to pass. Has time, throws underneath, a nice little catch. No, it falls incomplete as Eisenhart tried to find Tuhoski, and Tuhoski's still on the ground.
That's a tough break for Suhosky and the Pioneers because he's had a pretty good game playing defensive end. I thought they're just trying to get him on a little out pattern. Wasn't going to pick up any yards to begin with, but you know, they're trying to make things happen, trying to move the ball effectively. Clearview going to block down, making sure that everybody's getting their man. Give Eisenhardt a little bit of time to complete this pass. Suhosky maybe rolled on that football, Rob. Let's hope that's all it is.
Here's your recent Tri-County Classic champions last year. Deptford, year before, Deptford. 3 years prior to that, Delsey, of course, in 2000, they shared that. And then Kingsway, and this is actually the Royal Division, and Delsey and Delsey. So it's been a lot of Delsey until recently, and next week, we're going to figure it out, most likely. Why not tomorrow? We've had football last night, football today. Let's just do all football here.
Birds play tomorrow against the Chiefs. Have a Monday.
All right, Monday it is. But Monday night football, how about Tuesday?
Tuesday's cool.
Okay.
But they do have that ESPN game now. Maybe Wednesday. Now they got another ESPN game.
Big surge, Eisenhardt. Flushed out, throws it up, and it's tipped into triple coverage, and poor decision-making there by Eisenhardt.
Everyone covered down there as there's only Deptford Spartans in the view of that football. Again,
look at House
coming through like a missile as House. I mean, he's really exploiting that line coming in on those jailbreaks where he's just coming straight through trying to get a hold of Eisenhardt. He's been pretty effective. And again, talking about disrupting the plays and just pulling that timing off. As a quarterback, you see that guy and he's already hit you a couple of times. It enters into your mind. You get a couple of Spartans up there into your face. It's going to make your decision-making that much poor.
4th down and 10. Key play here for the Pioneers. Chappelle, your lone setback. Eisenhardt with time, steps up, throws it into the corner, and some pushing going on there, but the throw is well past Suhosky, and the ball will be turned over on down. So Clearview able to move the football, but unable to crack the end zone.
That time they're just going to go to Suhosky in the corner, and looks like he actually pulled defensive back to try and get a little position. Be interesting if that ball was underthrown a little bit more, if they would have called a foul on Suhosky, but it looked like he was holding on to the defender actually.
So Deptford will take over here, 1st down and 10 at the 19-yard line. 4:48 remaining in this quarter. And again, they will stay on the ground, and a couple Clearview players out there cramping up.
Yeah,
you mentioned that earlier in the day. It's time for the pickle juice.
Well, it's really hot down there. I mean, there's not a whole lot of wind or breeze or anything, and the sun's just sitting right on this field.
You take a look at the field.
On these guys.
You can't quite pick it up that well, Sean, but one of the things is that this field, it looks like it's a racetrack because it's almost all dirt. What happened was earlier in the year, I guess over the summer, they had the University of Wisconsin marching band come out here. Throw across the middle, picked off. Picked off at the 45-yard line, and now returning it is Aliberti. Aliberti at the 30 and cut down at about the 27, and they'll come all the way out to the fence. So a big turnover there by the junior cornerback, a return of 22 yards. Clearview able to get that football right back.
Yeah, Carmen Aliberti, he's played well the last couple of weeks. He's made some plays for this team, and as a junior, you expect guys to finally make an impact at the varsity level, and Aliberti's doing that. This is a nice job of him, kind of an over-the-shoulder catch. I think the receiver kind of slipped down about 10 yards before that play, and he's just, again, setting up your blockers. This is why those running backs play the defensive position, because once they're able to pick off the pass, they're able to move the ball upfield, use their blockers effectively, and Libby's done a nice job on the return game after their interceptions.
There is a Deptford player down on the field. He's being attended to. Again, we have 4 minutes exactly remaining in this third quarter. We have an opportunity again to talk about the field a little bit. What happened is they invited the University of Wisconsin marching band. I'm not quite sure how that all worked out. Wisconsin, I'm not great at geography, but I think it's pretty far. It's actually a Clearview player down.
That's just the cramp from earlier. Yeah, that's
Justin Kiernan. But anyway, the field, if you look at the field, really from the 30 to the 30 is just chewed up entirely. And one of these days they're going to get a rain here, and it's just going to be a soup. And I've had so many people from Deptford come to me and express their concern about you know, what the field
you're talking fans. I mean, you're talking the kids.
Absolutely.
And there was good reason. Like you said, it's going to be like a soup down there, but that's when you can have some serious injuries.
Right.
You can have guys that can really get injured down there. That field gets all muddy and stuff. You got guys planting down there into that mud. And the guys roll over on you, there's no give there. And guys can get seriously injured from that. I don't know whose decision that was, but probably a poor decision to allow the marching band to come down. There's plenty of open space.
There's plenty of
turf fields on the football field.
I don't get it. But if you look at it, it doesn't look as bad on your television screen. But when you go down there, I mean, it's literally looks like the cows have been eating there for a while. Eisenhart, and that falls incomplete.
Yeah, and you're right. The TV does not pick it up, but you go down on that field, it's just a mess of dirt. I mean, that's all it is, just complete dirt. Hey, look at Coach Bigcock. Taking a look at this play, and this is one of them rollouts again, trying to buy Eisenhart a little bit of time. Going to swing it out, and again, good coverage downfield that time. That was Melvin Ways again, who's called his name a couple times on offense. 5'7", 158 DB comes in all over the receiver.
4 straight incompletions here for Eisenhart and the Pioneers. They'll pitch. Lawyer has got room, cut down.
What a great job by
open
Leafy.
field tackle there by Ryan Leafy. Ryan Leafy, you know, one of the things that Coach Orio talked about is that because Leafy is asked to do so much more offensively this year, that it's really detracted from his defensive play. He is worn down, and he just doesn't have the same kind of edge that he would typically on defense. And he's, again, this Deptford team is really beset by injuries, so it's all the more important that Leafy plays both ways. And that's what you start to see here, particularly in high school football, is that it becomes a depth issue. But there, Leafy really stepping up and making a big play. Suhosky unable to come away with that. But again, this Deptford team, I think next week will be just an extraordinary test for them on many different levels, but I think from a depth standpoint more than anything else.
What Deptford has done is they've taken away the middle of the field for the Pioneers. All the push is coming from the middle. So that's going to force your quarterback to roll outside. And one of the things that Clearview's been able to do is use their tight end effectively over the middle of the field, get the back on the rollout and come in, a little square route for him. And that's not there right now because of Deptford's push. It forces the quarterback to roll out, and everything's toward the sideline.
4th down for Eisenhart and the Pioneers. Play action pass again, gets a push, throws it up over the head of Suhosky. And once again, Clearview unable to move the football.
Trying to go through the air as the Pioneers, and they had a couple of nice pass plays.
You know, 6 straight for number 6.
But again, I mean, everything up the middle of the field has been with Chappelle. There's nothing else going on in the middle of the field, and that is because of the Deptford push. You know, at some point, they got to try to test over the middle, either with Clendenning or maybe even Lawyer with a little square route. They usually like that play towards the goal line.
Inside handoff, not much there. So Clearview, 3rd time they've turned it over on 4 downs. Deptford has not turned it over once on 4 downs. Nor have they been forced to punt.
Bad trend for the Pioneers. Of course, they're facing Delsey and Deptford. You could say that's probably the 2 top teams. All apologies to Williamstown and Kingsway, but you probably think that
expect them to be stopped once or twice during the course of the game.
I'll tell you, the Kingsway team, you know, talking with some of the Deptford coaches, they said they wouldn't be overly excited to face them later on in the year, especially, you know, face them twice sometimes in the Royal Division. Of course, they won't have to do that. They're in Group 2, Kingsway being in Group 3, but that Kingsway team is a solid team. Did lose last night to Williamstown, who looks pretty good. You got to say that the Williamstown Braves, maybe not a one-hit wonder last year. The thing is, their problem, they're in Group 4.
Yeah.
And facing all the Group 3 schools.
That's a whole new ball game.
They could have a great record and not even make it.
I think Group 2 oftentimes is tougher than Group 3. I don't have to tell you how tough Group 4 is.
I got 33, you got 44.
You think Group 2 is tougher than Group 3?
I do.
I think you're crazy. What do you think of that?
I'll tell you what, you know, Delsey may argue, but you know, look at West Deptford last year.
Well, they're the cream of the crop, obviously, in Group 2, and now Deptford coming down to Group 2. I mean, I could see you can make a case for Group 2 is pretty stacked up top, but Group 3, I mean, you got your over the years you have your Delseys.
And the offense has declined, 4th down.
Kingsway will have its good year. Usually get somebody from the Royal.
Right.
But then you have also like the Hamiltons and those schools that come out from the Cape that are pretty good schools.
Well, Hamilton had been a Group 2 previously.
And they're Group 3 now.
Right.
Nice little crunch there by the Pioneers. You asked for a punt, and here it is.
There you have it. Maybe a case of a little too late.
That's a good punt,
That's a
man.
nice punt. And Lawyer will take it at the 32-yard line. Lawyer finds a seam around the corner. Lawyer on his way. Lawyer. And finally knocked out of bounds by Deptford's Andrew Bittner.
I'm a big fan of this guy. I mean, I really am. He's a tough football player.
There you see the scoring leaders in the area. Andrew Bailey out of Shallock with 43 points. Albert Young, 38. Folks from Paulsboro we saw earlier in the year, Badger, you can see just how high-powered that Shallock offense is. And of course, Leafy and Sant'Angelo, that was coming into today.
That's Cordell Young. Albert, thinking of Morristown guy who's now at Iowa.
Excuse me, I misspoke.
That's all right.
And
I got your back, my man. I got your back.
I appreciate that. Albert Young, as you mentioned, at Iowa, Division I player. So here's our, I got a 1 hot dog lead. Okay, so now you got the first one. Here's your last question for today. Try to make it even. We'll make I'll tell you what, you want this to be a 1 or a 2 hot dog question?
Just one.
Just one. Okay, this Deptford team had 3 Division I players last season. Okay, name them.
Okay, hold on. You got to get to this play.
Chappelle again with another sizable pickup. Chappelle having a nice day.
You want them in alphabetical order? How do you want them?
However you want to give them to me.
As far as how tall they are?
By middle name. And give me their middle name.
Let's just go with alphabetical order. We'll go with Jeff Clement.
All right.
We're going to go with Jeff Green. And joining him, your good friend of mine, Duwan Collins.
That's correct. Very good.
Or Duwan, as I call him. I usually call him Duwan.
Hot dog count is even. Nice job. Eisenhardt, a little end around to Lawyer. Lawyer escapes the tackle, but still not much there. And that'll do it here in the 3rd quarter. We head to break through 3 quarters of play. It's been all Deptford. They lead by 17. Start of the 4th quarter, Rob Christ along with Shawn Leary. You saw Deptford on top 24-7 here. And the Spartans have pretty much had their way with things. Ryan Leafy, a big part of that offense, but really has been the Sheldon Johnson show today.
Yeah, he's done a great job with the play fake, but also the keeper. And, you know, you just got to like this guy with what he's able to do with them long strides. And couple that with his passing ability. He's really able to get a lot of touch on his passes, but he has a great strong arm. So those two things combined really has him at one of the upper echelon quarterbacks in South Jersey.
Deptford has turned the ball over 3 times today, 2 on Johnson interceptions. Eisenhardt has a man wide open. It's Lawyer, and Lawyer is cut down, but not before picking up a 1st down. So Clearview again threatening to add to their total.
Yep, I mean, this team isn't going away. And, folks, the way they move the ball, don't go away. I mean, this is a Clearview Pioneer team that can move the football effectively through the air, and that's going to get the ball downfield in a hurry. If you're able to get a couple of breaks here in the 4th quarter, Kingsway was able to come back a little bit with the Spartans earlier in the year. And you just wonder, you know, maybe the Pioneers could do the same thing if they're able to connect here and play a little defense. And they got the big guys.
1st down and goal now for Clearview.
Got Chappelle Clendenning in that backfield.
And the fake, Lawyer
Yep.
stretches, touchdown. Clint Lawyer off the lead block of the big men. And Clearview draws to within 11, awaiting the point after.
We talk about making adjustments during the course of a week. They slide Clendenning in the backfield this time, number 54, along with Chappelle, and that's two big leading blockers. And that time you're able to get them blockers with a push up front. That little guy behind him, and he's able to get into the end zone. Nice job by the Pioneers, set up by the big 38-yard return by Lawyer.
Plenty of leg there. The kick is good, so it's now 24-14 for the Spartans.
Now look at the push you're able to get. You get that running start by the two big guys going right behind him. They're going to get a helmet on somebody, get them arms into somebody's chest, push them back a little bit off the ball, and then able to get Lawyer into the end zone.
Well, Clint Lawyer's listed at 5'8". We talked about it at the top. That may be a little generous, but he is kind of the spark plug of this team. He's someone that just provides so much energy, and that's what you need in a leader. He doesn't just do it with words. He does it by example.
Yeah, he's a good, tough runner, and he's got that combination, not only speed, but he's not afraid to run into somebody, and that's what you have to really like about Lawyer and some of these other guys that Clearview has right now. They've come out to play in this game and have played very hard. I got to think Coach Pidcock right now is pretty proud of at least the effort that's come out today with his team. Well, and again, they're still not out of this. I mean, there's plenty of time left with 10:29. You know, they just have to kind of make their own breaks here, and I'm sure you'll be seeing them trying to go after the football a little bit. But like you said earlier, you have to make stops. You have to be able to come up defensively and make a stop when you need to. That plane is really slowing down, huh?
Watch the ball. Watch him.
I think it's going to land. Well, kicking it away will be the Pioneers.
I think we were going to watch it land, too. That was a heck of a long shot.
And Thomas boots it away. And Ways will take it at about the 12. Ways to the 20. And Ways runs into Jury. First and 10 for Deptford, and right now Clearview really needs a 3-and-out defensively.
Either 3-and-out or try and come up with a play. They've been able to get a couple of picks. You have to think that Deptford's going to try to establish that run again, especially through the teeth of that Clearview defense. So Pioneers again have to respond defensively and maybe a little bit of movement, confuse the Spartans defensively, and the linebackers have to come up and make some plays.
Johnson keeps stretching it out wide. It's going to be Lawyer, and Lawyer unable to cut him down. Gets a little bit of help, but Johnson again with the play fake. Stretches it outside for a nice pickup. Call it about 6.
And the containment defensively. Look, I mean, this is how good Johnson is. You got your man there, Clendenning, who sees what's going on. He's trying to contain him as best as he's possible. He's ready to try and contain him. And Sheldon Johnson is just quick. He's got them long strides. He gets to the outside and still just outruns Clendenning to the outside.
Lawyer's got to wrap up Johnson there. Johnson's not going to go down just by one hit. And steps offsides. That was Deptford's number 52, Mike Small.
There's a dead ball. Illegal procedure.
Small's just
offense. Still second down.
Little jump. Nick Mazzullo, 235-pound senior, 6'2" on that end. Little love tap to the helmet as he's coming at him. So takes kind of negates that run by Johnson. Pulls him back. This game hasn't been too sloppy by either side. Pretty well officiated, well played by both.
Again, Johnson will hand off, and Leafy, he'll pick up about 4 or 5. And again, this is a critical 3rd down for this Clearview team. Not only do you need to stop them just to generate some momentum, but obviously clock management is critical at this point.
Watch Leafy here. This is a tough run, but you can't arm tackle. You have to do a better job of tackling. You look 2 or 3 arms trying to grab onto a jersey. Leafy's not going to come down by them arm tackles. You got to get your body on the man and stick a helmet in there.
3rd down, 3. Johnson Hands off, and Williams on his feet through the line, cross midfield. Williams down to the 20-yard line. Williams angles and is in for the touchdown. 67-yard touchdown run for the junior.
Looks like he's got a little cramp there, but he'll take the cramp after that 67-yard jaunt down the sideline. All set up in the middle, though. Everything, the blocking up front is what's going to spring him, allow him to get into the secondary. He makes a nice move and a cut, and then boom, into the end zone. That's pretty much going to put the icing, Polly, on this game with 8:31 left. Clearview's really going to have to hope for a couple of miracles, and they need to score in a hurry.
Spots down, Rogers' kick is up, and Rogers' kick is good. So Clearview, again, we talked about a critical stop there. They didn't stop him at all. He went 67 yards, and just like that, Deptford's back on top by 17. Clearview seems to work so hard to push down the field, and it's just so quick for Deptford.
Yeah, right here, Williams, he's just going to follow right behind his man, leaning on the back a little bit. I mean, right there, you guys should be coming up and cleaning up on that play. When you're able to stop a man's momentum coming out of the backfield, you know, you should be able to find somebody. A linebacker should be able to come up and make a play. There's no one around him. Makes, again, that nice move and a little sprint to the end zone, showing off some wheels there.
Well, again, that run in large part is set up by the earlier Johnson runs. You know, they can't sell out on the first ball carrier.
That's all that confusion's really got Clearview kind of mixed up, and yeah, this is, you know, we're seeing Clearview against Deptford and Delsey. This isn't a bad football team, and I think a lot of people got excited about them early on. But Deptford and Delsey, obviously, they look like they're the two best teams in the world. They're two very good teams. Two very good teams with a lot of ability. They have the strong guys up front. They got a lot of mixing. And you got to get excited about that matchup next week.
And Clearview will fall on the football. Their best starting field position off of a kick today, 42-yard line for the Pioneers. And right now, this may be an insurmountable lead. We'll step away. Deptford on top by 17. Welcome back to Deptford High School. Rob Christ along with Shawn Leary. 31-14. It's Deptford on top inside of 8.5 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. It's been a game where every time Clearview's thrown a punch, Deptford has answered back with an even mightier blow.
Right, and you know, it's just, again, trying to make stops. You need to find a way to get that done. You can see the rushing yardage and an insurmountable advantage for Deptford with 320 to Clearview's 143.
Well, when you give up 320 yards on the ground, that's a formula for disaster.
Yeah, you're right, and that's it's hard to come back from. Now you're seeing some of the Pioneers. Yeah, they gotta be banged up. You figure, you know, the pounding they took against Delsey last week, then you come back this week, and I'm sure they had a week of practice that wasn't the most fun.
Although Coach Pidcock said it was, you know, fruitful. He felt that they kind of put that in their rearview mirror. But again, I think right now you're looking at a Deptford team that's simply better than Clearview, man for man.
Deptford says you got to win it in the trenches, and right now that's pretty much been the story between Clearview and Delsey. Now Clearview and Deptford, they're just a little bit stronger up front.
Eisenhart airs this one out, and it's picked off. Picked off by Deptford's James Cosgrove. Eisenhart just seemed intent on throwing to that wide out. Cosgrove had better position on that ball than the Pioneer did, and again, that's a case where you're just trying to force something to make it happen.
Cosgrove, junior 5'5", 133, is going to go every step with Nelson. His ball is thrown up, and this is where they want on plays. They just want Nelson to go up and get the football, but Cosgrove does a good job of making sure he keeps his position.
Left to go here, and the Spartans will probably look to just run the play
Well, again, Deptford with 6:55 remaining, content to keep it on the ground. Why not? That's where they've been most successful. Over 300 yards in offense just on the ground alone. Al Orio and the crew will improve their record to 3-0. It'll be his 49th win as a Deptford Spartan. Now 32 out of the last 35 games he has coached here at Deptford will be in the win column. He has done a remarkable job. And, you know, one of the things that impresses me is that he does it the right way. I mean, he has kids. He has a mandatory study hall that, from what I understand, is now negated. They're not allowing them to have the mandatory study hall anymore, from what I understand. And that's a shame, because a lot of he's not only building players to go on and play college football, but he's building players to go on to go to college. And I think he understands his role. There's so many coaches in high school that are so intent on winning that they forget about the big picture. And really what's most important is preparing kids to become young men and become students, and putting the student into student athlete. And that's exactly what he does here. I can't say enough good things about him. And again, Deptford continues. The beat goes on. Just one man after another picking up yardage for this Deptford team.
You're right, Rob, about a number of things, including what the Deptford Spartans have done offensively here. Now they're getting a couple of guys involved with the offense. And, you know, they're just able to move the ball effectively, either going in, going out, and playing it just at extreme high level, moving the ball. And it's going to be a war next week when you look at the Deptford and Delsey's teams mixing it up. I mean, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Again, the handoff and bowling his way forward. Now, we don't have a 42 on our roster, so not quite sure who that is carrying the football.
And Rob, you're right. What Al Orio and his coaching staff has done here, not only for the football team, but more importantly for what his kids, getting them into a higher education, and his commitment to these kids is just remarkable. I know either one of these staffs, from either Clearview or Deptford, I know if I had my kid playing at these, I know that they would be in great hands.
That's absolutely right. Both of these coaches, fine gentlemen. And again, they get it.
That goes for the whole entire coaching staff. I mean, you can't say enough great things about these people and what they do for kids. You know, a lot of people complain about them and say, oh, you know, I can't believe they do this call or that call. And I think there's people that will look in the mirror and say, you know, what have I done for a number of these kids, like what these coaches are doing for them?
Well,
and I think when they get out of school is really when these kids learn. Sometimes you get a little upset. You know, I didn't get enough playing time. I should have done this. Coach should have done this with me. I think after they come back, and you hear a lot of this from either the Clearview kids who come back and say about Coach Pidcock, he turned me into a man. And everything that he taught me for after the game has really meant something in my life. And you hear a lot of that. I mean, I know a lot of people, including, you know, my friends, my brother's friends, and all come back and say, what Coach Pidcock did for us was amazing. Same thing with this Deptford. You know, they come back and just say, you know, what a great experience this was.
Inside of 3:30 now, Deptford with the first down. We got the name on the ball carrier. That's Josh Milton, and that's Milton again with the ball. So Milton not on the roster, but already playing a major role here in the fourth quarter as Deptford continues to just pound this Clearview defense relentlessly.
Yeah, coming down, just one more point is, you know, every time I'll come down the steps, and, you know, you always hear people say, oh, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? You just wonder, you look at that person and say, do you even get it? You don't even know what just happened here tonight.
I mean, it's true. You know, as a baseball
coach, you want them to win?
You're second guessed in baseball. I think, you know, you're second guessed every single pitch, whether it's, you know, what you call.
Yeah, well, you make some bad calls. I mean,
well, I do make bad calls. So
I'm joking with you.
I don't dispute that at all. But the thing is that, you know, that's the nature of sport, is that you can second guess everything. But again, at the end of the day, as you said, would you want your son to play for this guy? And, you know, so many, as a coach, I've always felt it's my responsibility to get my players ready for the next level. And I'm not just talking athletically, I'm talking about academically, to do the right thing, to be respectful of other coaches, to be respectful of my coaching staff, to understand that sport is just one vehicle that will allow them to be successful. And these are all things that both Pidcock and Oreo really understand.
Of 8 yards, and I believe I spoke too soon.
Nice pass over the middle that time by Brown or by Johnson. Watch him sell this. I mean, look at this. Fake, goes in, goes out of the ball carrier's hands, and right over the middle with a big tight end.
Second down and short here as the clock continues to tick away on this Deptford Clearview showdown on an absolutely gorgeous fall afternoon. October has been kind to us here. And there's Milton. And he'll be close to the first down as the clock will tick inside of a minute.
Might have first down yardage.
They're going to say he's short, so third down.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know what you're talking about with the study hall, but I do know what that study hall does, and what it just a great idea that Al Oreo put into that. And you know, it's a shame that it's not going on anymore. I don't know the story behind it, but that, yeah, that's something we'll probably look into, because that study hall, I think more schools should use that. Not only including Deptford getting it back, but more schools should use that.
And that ought to do it, as Johnson picks up more than enough for the first down.
Not only does, but also it's not a coincidence that these teams started playing better. Why did it? Well, you got everyone together. You got the guys that are focusing in on studying, doing well in school, doing well in sports. I mean, that's what it's about.
Right.
That's what it's about.
Right.
And this Deptford coaching staff gets it.
Right.
And other people need to follow suit.
Right.
Enough of my ranting. Enough of my ranting for the afternoon.
Well, this will be the last play as we're down to 15 seconds remaining.
11, 9, 8.
See that? Looks like it's the Spartan side. There's some people moving on. Maybe getting ready for the big Woodbury Fall Parade.
That's right. Well, Sheldon Johnson takes a knee.
What a game.
And he's had himself quite an afternoon. 9 carries, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's been the Sheldon Johnson show in large part.
Yeah.
I'm sure Delsey was here to scout this game, and maybe they got a few kids, a few people taping this game to take an additional look, but they're going to have to keep an eye on Sheldon Johnson. That's going to be a great matchup here on Channel 5 next week.
I'll tell you, they're going to have their hands full with this team and Sheldon Johnson. What he's able to do with that ball fake and lead this team. Yeah, they have a couple injuries, but they got some big guys up front that are doing the job for him. They have that mix of being able to pass and run the ball. It's going to be such a great collision next week. And let me tell you something. The people with the other schools maybe watch the Pioneers and think, you know, look, we could beat them up on the inside and front. But we just saw them face Delsey and Deptford. I guarantee you this team is going to improve after facing these two teams, and are only going to get better as the season moves on.
Well, the other thing, too, is I don't think they're going to play teams quite as tough as...
No, not at all. Absolutely not. So don't think you're watching the game thinking, we can Clearview. Nah, forget it. Because Deptford and Delsey is the cream of the crop right now. These other schools, when they face the Pioneers, you're going to be facing these guys who already been through the 2 tough games of their schedule. They're going to be able to pick it up now, and I think they maybe even grow from it. You know, you only get better when you play better teams, and that's certainly what the Pioneers have done early in the season.
Well, once again, Sheldon Johnson accounts for close to 200 yards in total offense, 130 on the ground, 3 touchdowns, and 67 yards via the air, 3 for 7 with a pair of interceptions. And Deptford goes on to win this game relatively comfortably, 31-14. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. For my partner, Shawn Leary, my director, Stan Ritter, I'm Rob Christ. Your final score, it was Deptford defeating Clearview 31-14. Good night, everybody.